you are male, and so that is sad that you're taking that spot, or you're advocating for taking that spot away from a biological female.
The respect.
I don't think they know how to give the respect.
Well, some of them do. Some of them are being respectful.
You're a trans woman, you're biologically male. Is any of that wrong? Okay.
First of all,
I feel like I've been respectful.
No,
mansplaining and lecturing to women about being respectful, and Blossom's like, I don't think they know how to be respectful. Are you freaking kidding me? One of the basics when a male decides to transition to a female, the first rule is to respect women. And you have the nerve to go out there and talk to these bona fide women and say, you don't know how to respect us. No, sweetheart. It's actually the other way around. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to be talking about this video that I found that is called Trans Women versus Conservative Women, and it's a debate going back and forth on various topics and issues, and our favorite person, Blossom,
do not interrupt a Black trans woman when she's speaking,
is also in this video along with some other trans women, and it's just one of those things that I feel like I have to talk about because there's so much to point out that I find hypocrisy in, that doesn't make sense to me. Blossom continues to ask questions that I don't understand why she keeps asking them, and she's expecting different answers or something. I don't really know, but yeah. So I'm going to talk about it today, you know, as a woman, as a lesbian, as a human. I feel like a lot of these topics really need to be discussed more in depth and for people to get a better understanding about what's going on in LGBT and why there's such a divide and a split. And this topic in particular, you know, I care about because I do care about trans women, but, you know, I also really care about women, where women stand in this debate and in this conversation. And sometimes I feel like they're really being drowned out. Their concerns are being drowned out in favor of really leftist trans women that are everything that you say to them falls on deaf ears. I feel like at this point, they're having the same conversations and the same debate over and over and over again. And thank you so much to all my loyal supporters out there who have been with me since the beginning. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't still be doing this, actually. So if you could share my video, give it a like, put some comments down to push the algorithm to get the word out more about the channel and what it's all about. The video I'm going to be reacting to today is brought to you by Curly Boy Chuck. He's a YouTuber, and he has quite a large following and a lot of really, really good videos out there. So you should go check him out as well. And he says a lot in this video that totally is based, makes sense, on point. And I was really impressed with that. So here we go.
I don't disagree with you that I don't understand your lived experience, because I've never lived an experience as a man. Or
I'm not living an experience as a man's friend. And I just want to be clear to everybody in this room that I was invited here as a woman. So if we're going to engage in a conversation with each other, I would appreciate the respect of being talked to as a woman for this conversation. You don't have to agree, but I'm not going to be in here and being talked to that way, because we were invited here all as women.
You were actually invited here as a trans woman.
Yes, trans woman.
Right.
That's called a distinguisher, friend.
When you put trans or another word in front of woman, it's not actually a real woman.
It describes the woman.
Short woman?
It's an adjective.
You don't have to do that for
trans
a woman.
Is a type of woman.
Okay, so right off the bat, here's the problem. Like, they don't even want to hear about their biology. If you make reference to that in any way and trying to have a conversation and see eye to eye about something, like, you kind of have to mention your biology at some point, because trans women, it means you transitioned from male over to female. So, you know, your biology does matter. It absolutely matters, and it matters for many, many reasons. And the fact that that one all the way on the left there is getting so defensive right away and saying, I'm going to be respected, it just gives off this really, like, it's just giving male, it's giving like dominance, and it's giving misogyny a little bit. Like, calm down. Like, she's just trying to talk to you about this, and you're already jumping down her throat because she made mention of the fact that you were once a male. Like, is that really that big of a problem? Like, if you still haven't been able to get past that much, and you're pushing back that soon, like, you're having a you problem. Like, you're having a real problem. Like, not these women aren't having a problem. You're having a problem. Biology is real. It's okay to have this conversation. Like, I have this conversation with trans women who are well-adjusted all the time. Like, I don't get it.
And that goes under the whole umbrella of what womanhood is.
And that's the other thing. Did you hear what she just said? Blossom goes, it goes under the whole umbrella of what a woman is. No, it doesn't. Biological women have very different experiences than trans women have. Those are just facts. And your biology is rooted in being male. You went through male puberty. You were born a man. Like, and that is okay to say. And it is okay to be a trans woman. But just get real. Again, like right away, it's like the lecturing and the wagging of the fingers. Like, this is why women are pissed. Like, this is why women are pissed. They're done putting up with this shit. And they're done like negotiating with this kind of thing. Like, it's just getting old.
Okay, so in that clip, it got really testy because the actual woman had the nerve to say that I do not know your experience as a lived man. Right. Woman. And the trans person, I think her name is Stassi or something like that, I don't remember. They got upset, right? And said, oh my God, how dare you? How dare you say that? I came here in good faith. You need to address me as a woman. I came here as a woman.
It comes off very like you don't have the strength, like that you're weak. You know, like you don't have the strength to even hear that. You know, it's interesting. And I said this on one of my last videos too, that people try to come at me and call me a trans man and I should transition, or I look like this, or I look like that, or I'm ugly, or I'm this, I look manly, I should transition, and try to like throw it at me as an insult. And I'm like, first of all, like that doesn't affect me. It doesn't impact me in any way, shape, or form. I really don't care. There's very few people in my life that I care like what they think about how I look, right? Or how I'm perceived or whatever. Like, I know I'm a woman. I am a woman and I know who I am and I'm confident in that. And these people come off very insecure. They don't come off as confident.
No, you came here as a trans identifying man, which is why you're sitting on a panel talking about trans versus women. Ta-da! That's number one. Number two, she wasn't even taking a snipe at you. What she was saying was, I don't understand your experience as a trans person.
I am a personal believer that trans women do not have a competitive edge. We have trans athletes like Leah Thomas who won 5th place in swimming. She didn't win 1st place.
Actually, sir, you're wrong, and a simple Google search would have helped you, because as you can see here from Google, Leah Thomas did win the NCAA championships.
Why do they keep bringing up Leah Thomas, first of all? Because that is not helping their case. That whole situation was so messed up with Riley Gaines and those other swimmers. I mean, I can't understand why they keep bringing that up, because that's the stupidest thing to bring up. They went through hell, those girls, having to be in that locker room with him and stripped down naked and all that went on. And like they handed over the trophy to him. And it just was a horrible, horrible thing that never should have happened the way it did. It was violating for a lot of those girls, and they just have no empathy for it. All they care about is what Leah Thomas did and how Leah Thomas feels. And we're done with this. We've said, hey, let's have a trans category. Let's, figure this out. Like, we still have to keep the sexes separated. We still have to understand that biology is real. Like, why is this so difficult? Why do they keep hammering away at this? Like, I'm at a point where I'm starting to think that they don't actually believe what's coming out of their mouth anymore, that they're just doing it for like the clicks and the shares and the likes, like they couldn't possibly not understand at this point. They're beating a dead fucking horse. And you're talking about Leah Thomas and you're not even getting it right. Like, you're not even getting it accurate.
Now, the reality of it is we don't give trans men this same slack and this same mouth like we do trans women. Right? And so my question always becomes, why is that? Why do conservative women not give trans men the same flack that they give trans women in sports? I would love to know the answer to that question.
I can answer that question for you, Blossom. And you're right. The reality is we don't give trans men the same problem about this as we do trans women. And there's a simple answer for that. And that is trans men are biological women. So biology, again, this thing that you cannot handle, is part of why we don't see it the same. Men's bodies competing alongside women's bodies is inherently unfair, and it can be dangerous, and it's wrong. There's a reason they segregated the sexes for sports to begin with. And now you want to invade them, and then you want to bring trans men into the conversation when trans men are biological women. Like, just Stop it. This is common sense, Blossom. Common freaking sense. And I feel like I've seen you on so many other shows asking the same questions. And I don't know if you're expecting a different answer because it's giving a little bit crazy psycho when you keep asking this stuff over and over and over again, as if somebody is going to miraculously give you an answer that is something different, or I just don't get it.
Women do not compete as well against men, even if you identify as a man. That would be the answer to your stupid question. You're welcome.
You are male, and so that is sad that you're taking that spot, or you're advocating for taking that spot away from a biological female.
The respect.
I don't think they know how to give the respect.
Well, some of them do. Some of them are being respectful.
You're a trans woman. You're biologically male. Is any of that wrong? Okay.
First of all,
I feel like I've been respectful.
No, like
mansplaining and lecturing to women about being respectful, and Blossom's like, I don't think they know how to be respectful. Are you freaking kidding me? One of the basics when a male decides to transition to a female, the first rule is to respect women. And you have the nerve to go out there and talk to these bona fide women and say, you don't know how to respect us. No, sweetheart. It's actually the other way around. You need to be respecting them. You're the one that wants to be a woman. You're the one that wants to walk side by side with us in women's spaces, in women's sports, in women's private areas, and then you turn around and lecture women about respect? Like, you can't be serious, girlfriend.
Once again, you have the trans folks getting testy because the word man was used in reference to sports, which this prompt is talking about. The biological woman is saying, at the end of the day, you are a man competing in a woman's sport, and all hell breaks loose. How dare you? 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 You're a man. That's how she dares. You're a man. Get out of women's spaces. Ta-da! I'm sorry, but I'm not coddling these people. I'm just not going to do it. So,
the coddling of trans in like the far leftist space, those days are gone. That ship has sailed. Everybody's really done with bowing down to these people just because they said so. And this whole forced acceptance thing is just, it's getting old. And just because you're going through something, or you're having a problem, or you are having your transition woes and you don't like the way you're perceived, or you don't like the answer that you're getting from women, that doesn't mean that we have to adhere to everything you're doing. Like, you're not leading this charge. Women lead this charge. Women are in control of this. Women will be listened to. And when I say women, I'm talking about biological women. And listen, I'm not trying to throw shade against trans women, because I know plenty of trans women that totally get it. They understand that, again, these are well-adjusted trans friends of mine that say to me, you don't get everything you want.
I'm seeing the nuance a little bit. And what I wanted coming in here today was to be able to have a conversation about, like, trans women and conservative.
This person doesn't see any nuance. They see what they want to see, and they want to do what they want to do with no nuance, no pushback. It's, I'm in charge, I'm doing this, I'm lecturing, I'm finger wagging, I make the rules, and you shut up and adhere to them. I mean, she made that very clear at the very beginning of this debate. So I don't know what she's talking about nuance. Please.
Women, and hopefully we can find a middle ground somewhere. I want you guys to keep everything that you have and more. I want you guys to have all of your bodily autonomy, everything, all of that. I also want the right to mine.
But how do you not have a right to your bodily autonomy when you have gone through a transition as an adult? How do you not have your bodily autonomy? Like, how do you not have your bodily autonomy? You literally have your bodily autonomy. You are walking the world as a trans woman, doing what you want to do. I mean, maybe you're not invading all the spaces and infringing upon everything that you want to infringe upon, but you certainly have the right to go transition and live your best life the way you wanted to, within the confines of your life. Like, what are you talking about? You want to have bodily autonomy. And by the way, this prompt has to do with trans kids. And now she's sitting up there making this about her and avoiding talking about the trans children thing. And it's just the narcissism is off the charts with these people. Like, again, I'm just going to say it again. This is why everybody's upset. This is why everybody is done with you guys. Why everybody is done. We're done negotiating. We're done with these discussions. We're done with these debates, this back and forth. Like, you don't get it. You just keep hammering away at women, and they're at a point where they're not going to bend anymore. We already did the bending. We already did the moving things around. We already made all these accommodations for you. And actually, in some cases, we ended up making too many accommodations because, again, like you guys love to bring up the Leah Thomas thing, and it didn't work out very well, and people got very upset about it. And, you know, there's a slew of other things that have happened and problems that have occurred and threats that have been made against women. Like, I hate to say it like this, but it's never going to be like totally normalized to like be trans. Like, it's just not. Just like it's never going to be totally normalized for me to be a lesbian. There's always going to be people that are like, don't like it or have a problem, and there's issues. And I find that the more you push the agenda, the more resistant people are to these types of things. Like, if you just leave it alone a little bit and come to the table as who you are instead of pushing it on people and doing it by force, like this forced diversity thing doesn't work. I've seen it in the gay community. I've seen it in racial circumstances. You have to let things happen organically and naturally. And the trans kid thing, like everybody that's on like the left side of this conversation, they can't give that up either. The trans sports thing, the trans kids thing, like all the really hot button things, they're the ones that can't get common ground. Like, we tried all the things and all the stuff. And we said, no, how about we get common ground by having a trans category? No, they don't want a trans category. How about we wait until children are 18 to get a transition, but maybe before that they can go to therapy? Oh, no. They know who they are. They're the ones that aren't willing to compromise and aren't willing to have nuance and aren't willing to have middle ground. And they're making that very clear yet again in another one of these debates.
And just because you don't understand my experience doesn't mean that
no one has to understand your experience. No one has to understand you. No one has to care either. The way you think they have to care on that level. And because to me, again, you come across as having no confidence. You don't understand my experience. And just because you don't get it means blah, blah, blah. Like, no, I don't understand how this community got so weak and fragile about everything. Oh, like, come on, girl. Like, women are stronger than this. Step up to the plate as a woman and be confident and strong and say, I'm a strong trans woman and I would like to be more accepted. And I want to walk the world this way and blah, blah, whatever the fuck you want to say. But instead you're like, no, you need to do it this way. Oh, man, it's so frustrating. Oh, God, why am I watching this? Actually, shout out to Jessica Gill. She was the one that actually told me about this video originally. And I was like, oh, my God, I don't want to do a reaction to this.
I should have it taken away or diminished because of the opposite side, I guess.
Here's the funny thing about that clip, right? So I actually agree with the perspective of I just want to be able to live my life as an adult and make my own decisions and have bodily autonomy over my own body. I agree with that. I think every American should be able to make their own choice and their own decision as an
which this trans woman already has done. They have made their own decision and they transitioned. They're here in the flesh and we see it. I don't understand what the problem is. Like, to me, they just peddle the same mantras and the same lines and the same radical activist talking points again and again and again. And after a while, it just sort of like gets washed out and loses its meaning.
An adult. But if you notice in that prompt, it was specifically talking about, does the trans movement prey on children, or is there a push to, create this ideology for children, right? Are they targeting children? That was the prompt. And I found it funny that this trans individual decided to make it about themselves and their adulthood, completely negating the actual prompt, which was, are children being targeted with this ideology? Which, unless you're living under a rock, absolutely they are.
Yeah, and they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about it, and they avoid talking about it because they know that they've done wrong there. And that's the other thing, is the accountability. They can't take any accountability for anything that they've done or anything that they've pushed that perhaps was wrong or not the right decision. Like, they can't step off of something and be like, yeah, you know what, I think we should leave that one alone, or I was really misinformed, or, you know, I've changed my mind about this, I learned new information. There's 1,000 ways to like pivot a little bit with something. But again, these people are totally narcissistic, selfish, and they don't have the ability to see it any other way, because it's all about them all the time. And I hate that, because it makes all trans people look bad. And that's what I hate about this the most, is that not everybody walks the world this way and acts like a freaking fool.
I call it a social contagion. Okay, you have children who are a part of Gen Z and Gen Alpha who predominantly are now identifying as trans, which is odd, because overall in the nation, only 0.1% of the population is actually suffering from gender dysphoria. So tell me how such a small, tiny, minute population is so massive in the younger generations coming up in schools. Something is happening. Something's going on. And we all know what it is. Okay? They're pushing their ideology in the books, in the curriculums, with rainbow flags everywhere. You have teachers that are now talking about their sexuality and their gender fluidity. When I went to school, the only thing I knew about my teacher was their last name. I didn't even know their first name. I knew nothing about my teachers, nothing personal about their lives. Okay, it was math, science, and English. That's all they taught me. That's all they talked about.
Sure.
Nowadays, you go to public schools and teachers are coming out to their students, doing videos about, I just went to my class.
Gross.
That is called pushing an ideology.
Exactly.
1,000%. So yes, as an adult, do what you want to do amongst your adult friends. But when it comes,
they don't understand boundaries. I don't know what this newer generation and the teachers and the coming out thing, like what he's talking about, like there's boundaries between children and teachers, and it should be a very, very, very big boundary for many reasons. And they have shrunk that down. And I don't know what it is. And it's the same thing with some of these trans people that don't have any boundaries about things. And they think they can just walk in and do what they want and, you know, be who they are, and without any regard for anybody else's space or anybody else's feelings or anybody else's perspective about what's happening. And I don't know, like the whole trying to shrink and break down the boundaries, to me, that starts to get into groomer territory.
I don't think I should have to. I think if I were to use the pronouns that you don't want me to use, then you know what? Tough. Like,
no, you get to reap the consequences of that.
What are the consequences?
That part.
Wait. This is extremely important. Okay. If she calls you he, him, what are the consequences? Because to me, that sounds like
I'm listening. What are the consequences if somebody misgenders you and you don't like it? Sounds pretty threatening to me. Here we go again with the threats. Here we go again.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
Pinning women against the wall, so to speak, and saying, if you don't do this, there's consequences. And you see how they have sort of like a backdoor, backwards way of sneaking in there and saying stuff like that? No. Again, this is why women are pissed. I learned this about myself just as a lesbian, that people do not have to accept me for being a lesbian. Do I like that? Does it make me feel good? Of course not. But I learned to walk the world and navigate around that, and I still live a good life and have friends and family, and I'm married and everything else. So for me, when I start looking at this, you know, I start to think, I don't really think that this is oppression at all. I think this is complaining. I think these people like to be victims. And I think these people like to have control over the situation. There's something else psychological going on here that is not addressed. And I really think gender affirmation has a lot to do with that, because they're skipping over other comorbidities, other problems.
Sounds like a threat. It does sound like a threat. And that's an issue if it's a threat.
So that 100% was a threat. In case you didn't hear, the woman
I heard
that, because the prompt was talking about, should you address people by their preferred pronouns, yes or no? And what she was saying was, I've been respectful in this debate. I've called you all the pronouns that you want to be called. But if I chose not to, get over it. Like, I shouldn't be forced to use pronouns if I don't want to use pronouns. That's my right. And the trans person decided to come back with, well, then get ready for the consequences. Excuse me? The consequences? What is that a threat? Because that sounds pretty threatening to me.
Yeah.
Now, the trans person went on to say, oh, no, I just meant that, the consequences would be me not talking to you or me not addressing you or me not communicating with you. That would be the consequence.
Bullshit.
Yeah, I'm not buying that. I'm sorry. That sounded like a threat to me. That sounded like catch me outside. That sounded like don't be mad when I whoop you outside in the parking lot. That's what that sounded like when it comes to consequences. And we've seen,
again, just this domination of women, veiled threats, and then they want access to our spaces and our sports.
An uptick of people, mass shooters who are trans identifying, who are angry and pissed off, who have ended people's lives because of things like pronouns. So don't sit here and tell me that these threats are not real, because they are real, and it's sick. It's absolutely freaking sick. And I agree. If I'm working with somebody in a professional setting and they are a trans person and they want to go by he, him, or she, her, I have no problem doing that. I'm not one of those people that's going to like push back and purposefully try to make you feel bad in the workplace.
Sure. No, me either.
It doesn't affect my life. And it's a problem. I've seen videos of trans folks who literally will sit there and threaten and say, if you don't call me by my preferred pronouns, watch your back. I'm armed. Like, I've heard that.
Dude, what?
I've seen those videos. If I can find
the fact that people are threatening people over pronouns and like talking about weapons and like unaliving somebody over their pronouns, that to me goes to show you like that there's something wrong with you, that you can't mentally handle that you're going to resort to taking someone's life. That's what we're talking about right now, for not using the right pronouns. There are legitimate reasons why women are pushing back, and that's one of them. So I'm really happy that this guy is saying what he's saying.
I will put them here.
I dare you to try and stop me from going into a women's bathroom. It will be the last mistake you ever make.
In his video, the activist also encouraged other transgender people to buy guns.
Go out, buy a gun. Learn how to use it.
Tara J published his video after the murder of 6 people at a Nashville Christian school and sparked anger online, which led to the removal of the video. The activist later responded to the criticism by saying he would continue to use women's restrooms and women's locker rooms.
I don't give a f if I lose this account. Report it all you want.
You don't care about anything, dude. That's the problem. You don't care about anyone or anything except for you. And that's why everybody's pushed back. Like, talk about not giving a fuck about women. You want to be a woman, but you certainly don't give a shit about, like, protecting women or caring about other women or, respecting boundaries of other women.
I've seen them. So don't tell me that those threats are not going somewhere, because they are. And it's really sad to me that you care so much about what other people think. Because at the end of the day, if you care and you fully feel like you're a woman or a man, it shouldn't matter what Joe Schmo over there thinks of you.
Exactly.
It shouldn't. Whether he calls you he, him, or a sock, it shouldn't matter, because you know who you are, right? Or don't you?
So guys, let me know what you think about that whole thing. I can give a link below to the full debate that that happened, and honestly, I struggled with a lot of it, because they're just so freaking unable to see the nuance, as they keep talking about and trying to say that we're the ones over here on this side, us as women, us as lesbians, us as people that are based in this conversation, that we don't know what's going on, but we do. Guys, let me know what you think in the comments, and please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.